Hey everybody, Phil Crute here, Comedy, Cigars, and Music, and today's cigar for review is the Aganorsa Leaf Signature Selection Maduro. Off the foot and wrapper, I am getting a very nice, creamy milk chocolate and cherry. So this is almost like a, I don't know, if you can imagine like what a cherry cordial cream pie would taste like, that's what this cigar smells like. And the wrapper is super smooth, really beautiful dark wrapper. There's a little crack here, it looks like. I'm really hoping that doesn't affect anything. It's right in the middle here of the cigar. Okay, well, I'm gonna get it lit up, cut here, and we'll see what we get. Okay, so right at the start here, there's a little bit going on with this cigar. Right on the finish there, I'm just telling you this because it just hit me. Right on the finish, that kind of built in there. So there wasn't really anything on the finish outside of a little bit of sweetness, and then right when I started talking, this spice kind of formed a little bit. So it's real subtle, but it's there. On the pull, as far as flavors go, quite a bit going on. There's some milk chocolate in there. I even got a little bit of caramel. There's a little bit of oakiness in there, and a little bit of charred meat. So that's just off the first pull here. So that's good. I like that. Retrohale's a little bit of that charred meat. There's some charred meat on the finish there too now, and that spice is building up now. Retrohale, just a little bit of that charred meat. There's something in that retrohale. I cannot pinpoint that. Okay, on that retrohale, I think I got it. It's like a charred meat and like a very faint mushroom type of flavor, whatever you want to call it, on that retrohale. It's interesting. I don't know, I feel like there's a lot going on already with this cigar. So I'm interested to see what's coming up. Also, just real quick, I'm sorry. For some reason on YouTube, I've been hooked on, I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with the comedian Chris D'Elia and Brian Collin. They have these clips from it though, where Chris D'Elia and Brian Collin are just like roasting each other. For some reason, I have been on a kick watching those. I think they're hilarious. You might not have that same sense of humor, and that's all right, but I kind of dig it when I see comedians kind of ribbing each other, and just jokingly, not like they're on stage roasting each other and giving each other a serious hard time. They're just kind of roasting each other back and forth because they're good friends. One line that cracks me up with Chris D'Elia, and I'm going to completely butcher it because it's out of context, but one line that cracks me up is when he's talking about how like rich he thinks he is, or envisions himself to be, and he just makes this comment like, you know, whatever amount of money he spends, it didn't make a dent. And then I won't ruin it for you, but there's one where he's talking about, he and oh shoot, I can't think of the other guy's name, but there's three of them talking, and Chris D'Elia is talking about how Brian Collin kind of like brought him in, but now they're like soaring above him. I'll put a link in the description so you can check that out if you want. All right, so rounding out the first third here a little bit. Sorry, I don't know if you guys can hear that, if that's picking up on camera, but there's some little kid kind of throwing a tantrum over there. Not my kid, sorry. Anyway, round out the first third here. So right after that initial light up where I was getting all those flavors, I know I kind of use this party analogy a little bit, but it was kind of like a birthday party where right when the person gets, everybody jumps out and says surprise, and then everybody kind of dissipates a little bit. That's what happened with the flavors a little bit. So all those really nice flavors I got kind of all started dying back very slowly. And then I was at a point where I really hardly got any flavors. But then after a while I got a little bit of toasted graham cracker every so often. Got some milk chocolate and some fruitiness as far as flavors go. On the retrohale, I would say some milk chocolate and some very subtle spice, but it was definitely there. Not like a baker spice, more like a chili pepper spice. The smoke output's been really good. The finish, some chocolate and fruitiness, and again milk chocolate and fruitiness there. But the flavors were really kind of in and out on this one. I'll get some good flavors, and then it'll kind of just flatten out. Like there won't really be much there at all. I have had to, I guess, nurse or baby this cigar a little bit, in that if I put it down for any length of time at all, and I'm not talking like, you know, long stretches of time, a little bit of time, I have to take 2 or 3 pulls to kind of get it moving again. Once it moves though, that smoke output's really good. Man, that kid is not having a good day right now. As far as the aroma off the foot, really good aroma off the foot. It's honestly like a milk chocolate, fruity, floral spice is the aroma off the foot. So that's really enjoyable as I'm just sitting here hanging out. Got some black pepper spice on that one. And that spice in the finish that I had right at the beginning at light up, that pretty much is all gone away. It'll come in every so often, but not near as getting to the intensity as the beginning, and it wasn't super intense at the beginning. So kind of curious how this cigar is going to perform overall. I've already had 2 burn touch-ups, and they've been kind of major ones. The burn is just not wanting to be a real heavy team player here. This cigar is all Nicaraguan, so binder, filler, wrapper, or whatever order, wrapper, filler, binder, all Nicaraguan. See, like right there on that pull, started out with some nice milk, chocolate, and fruitiness, and then as that pull goes in, it transitioned into a black pepper. Really good. These last couple pulls I've taken while I'm recording have been some of the best on this cigar. It's kind of been that black pepper is always right at the end of the pull. That finish is staying real nice and fruity. A lot of times I'm getting some of that smoke off the foot, and that just tastes really good. It's like this chocolate, fruity, floral spiciness, like I said before. So that's really good when I just get that on accident. So with the weather getting nicer, I'm seeing people out and running. My favorite runner by far when it gets warm here is the runner that runs with their shoulders. So hopefully this won't go out while I'm doing this. But the runner that, like, they're not really moving fast. To be honest, I'm not trying to be mean, but they could be walking, but they're doing like, I love those runners. Those runners crack me up. There's a comedian, I'm going to say 10 years ago, but I always say 10 years ago to make myself seem younger. But it's probably been more than that, probably like 20, 25 years. So he had this stand-up bit where he's talking about how how when you wave people across the street when you're driving and they're walking, you wave them across the street and they do that like shoulder run, you know, as they're like thanking you. And the guy made a good point. He said, they act like they're going so fast, like they're crossing the street to try to get out of your way and be real nice. You think they run like that if there's an axe murderer behind them? And it was so hilarious because he starts doing the run. He's like, ah! Ah! There's no chance of that guy getting away from that axe murderer. A little bit of oakiness on that one. That one was a lot of fruit on the finish there. All right, cool guys. I'm going to keep smoking this down, and I will see you guys in just a second. Okay, so kind of rounding up to the end of the second third here. Flavors have picked back up a little bit through the second third. So the primary flavors in the second third have definitely been that black pepper spice and some oakiness in there. There's also been this chocolate and a berry every so often. On the retrohale, kind of a tobacco and earth on the retrohale for the most part. On the finish has been like a nice roasted coffee, chocolate, and like a berry cherry type of flavor. Now there has been times where they've all kind of come together, so it's been like a roasted coffee, chocolate, berry, cherry all together, and that's been pretty good on the finish. And when it's not that, just all in the finish, then what happens is that roasted coffee kind of, as that fades out, that chocolate and berry cherry, I know I keep saying that, but that's what the fruitiness kind of reminds me of, is this berry cherry mix. Then that comes in. I have had one burn touch-up in the second third, and there is a split developing. That one split that I told you about at the beginning, this thing burned right through that. If you have watched the whole video and not just skipped through, See there, just a little bit. I kind of had to baby that. That split there didn't make a dent. But now I've got kind of a nasty split coming. I'll show you that here. All right, I'm really hoping that doesn't cause an issue. I will see what I can do to fix that. But I'm really hoping that I can get through this whole cigar. I've only had one other review where I had to cut it short, so I'm hoping that this cigar doesn't do that. Alrighty, I will keep smoking away here, and I will see you guys in just a second. Just real quick, I just thought about it too. Right at the beginning of the second third, and again towards the end, especially for newer smokers or maybe just smokers in general, that nicotine builds up a little bit. It's not like overwhelming, like I'm getting ready to pass out or anything, but I can feel it there. So at the beginning of the second third, it was really present, then it kind of died down, and then towards the end of the second third, it kind of started building back up, and actually it's there right now. I can just feel it a little bit. So like I said, I'm going to keep smoking this down, and I will see you guys in a second. Okay, so the end of the final third, that split did not shut us down. It continued. I did have to do 2 or 3 burn touch-ups in this final third. I did a couple of touch-ups near the top of that split just to try to cut it off a little bit, and it seemed to work out for me. So that worked out well. Okay, got a little bit of chocolate there. It's the first time I got chocolate on the flavor, as far as flavor goes here in the final third. But the flavors, mostly the black pepper spice through this final third. It's got some graham cracker sweetness in there, a little bit, some fruitiness, and it's no longer that cherry berry, just a general fruitiness. On the retrohale, some more of that fruitiness there, and some lettuce. Might sound weird, but I got some lettuce in there. On the finish itself, did I just say finish? I thought if I said finish, I meant retrohale. If I said retrohale, never mind. On the finish, roasted coffee, leather, and dark chocolate even peeked in a couple times. That was enjoyable. Smoke time for this cigar came out to 1 hour and 40 minutes. Guys, as always, thanks for joining me. If you have any questions or comments, please make sure to leave them below. I will get to them as they come along. If you enjoyed this video, have enjoyed other videos, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Until next time, guys, be cool to each other, and I will see you soon.